Thank you so much, Mr. Devdutt, for joining us on this podcast at All.Live. The kind of experience that you have and the insights that you always wanted to share with the audience, we are extremely grateful for that. We have quite a set of topics, very interesting set of topics for you to discuss on. But before we start, would love to understand, when you look back at your 20 plus years of experience in technology and delivery roles, do you remember one defining moment that shaped you as a leader?
First of all, Rishikesh, thanks for inviting me, and I am feeling privileged for this podcast. So, as per your question, I can give a good example. Particularly, some days back, years or 15 years back, when I was in Satyam, one important project from Nokia we were implementing, and it faced a very unexpected failures, technical failures, putting the team under immense pressure and risking the client relationship with Nokia. So
Yeah.
for that, we gathered all the complete team members, hired leadership. So we facilitated open brainstorming, empowered the junior members to suggest different solutions and to protect the team from external blame, like other departments were starting blaming me, you will lose the contract and all. So we focused on the collaborative problem solving and learning from the failure. This exercise helped me a lot to learn that instead of blaming others, higher up or the subordinates, control and rigid adherence to the earlier plan which we have devised and hiding the different mistakes. If we are not preventing the failure, but it is better to guide the team through its integrity and care and creating a culture of trust and shared ownership, then we can be successful. So that particular incident really helped me a lot to create the different leaders as well as it enhanced my own leadership quality. So what I learned from that, the open communication from top to bottom and bottom to top, the collaborative approach and analyzing the different options and finding different alternatives really helps a leader to be a success.
Got it. Very interesting story, sir. And as we can see that, you have started your career very hands-on, like in systems, networks, and engineering. But many a times, we also see that a lot of the technology leaders now they have to also think about business outcomes. So can you recall an incident that actually taught you in the beginning that how technology really impacts business outcomes?
Yeah, nowadays a lot of things are coming up for the technology side. If we implement the automation, we implement the AI, then things becomes very easy and it really impacts the business because it reduces the human effort, it saves the cost. That is one part which technology helps us. And when we have multiple technologies in various organizations and one project implements different technologies, any of the project encompasses multiple technologies, process, different monitoring, automations. But for business outcomes, it becomes difficult for the higher leadership to judge, to monitor, and to take decisions. So recently, we provide the reports to client leadership where I was facing much difficulty in shaping the report. So in that, we implemented different data analytics and digital dashboards, which really helped us to giving the real communicative and qualitative reporting to the higher ups and the client leaderships also.
Got it, sir. And you have worked across banking, manufacturing, retail, and insurance. So our audience will love to know that if you could share a situation where understanding the business domain as such, made or broke a delivery outcome.
Okay. So in one of the recent project, we were implementing a Bluefield SAP program into an existing SAP platform. So we struggled a lot due to inefficient business processes. Instead of re-engineering the processes to match the software, we just try to copy the business processes. So lack of domain understanding of the new system's capabilities versus the real business needs, what the client really needs. Instead of that, we were just trying to make a new system's capability and we under it impression it will sustain and it will work. So, but really what happened, we result in the excessive communication, customization, spiraling cost and a risk of project abandonment. So instead of that, we hired a lot of domain experts having knowledge both from telecom as well as fintech. Previously, we were trying with only telecom domain people, but we hired some people having both telecom as
Mm.
well as fintech together. And after that, it became successful. So domain knowledge is really important while implementing any project. Particularly, senior researchers should have the domain knowledge.
Right, sir. And you have led teams across geographies. Like, you have worked in various geographies. First thing we want to understand is that what are the geographies in which you have worked in, sir?
I have worked in EMEA, I have worked in APAC, also US,
Mm.
and even South Africa. I have worked in Finland, Australia. As you know, it is a very, I mean, everybody works for the US clients in
Yeah.
IT particularly. So I have worked in various.
So clients from which geographies you like the most?
Different people have different types of cultural differences. But
Ah,
recently, when I was in Dubai, I liked the Middle East clients because nowadays they are very keen to implement the new technologies and they are really very enthusiastic and excited to implement that. So probably that region, Middle East region, clients are really very good.
got it. And can you also, kind of talk us through a project, sir, like where managing people was harder than managing technology?
Yeah, that is because of the cultural differences. Many a times it happens. Managing people becomes harder than managing technology. So because technology can be learned from various sources. Nowadays, there are a lot of websites which provides you any tutorials on any particular technology. You can learn that. But
Mm.
managing people is a quality which is developed through a journey, through the experiences. So many of the project, it becomes difficult to manage the people than managing the technology. And the reasons probably is the lack of communication and trust.
Mm.
There are different time zone disparities. There are cultural differences are there. So it comes out of the experiences to manage the people than managing the tech.
What was your approach to manage people, sir? Like,
My approach becomes I generally create a virtual war room 24
mm,
by 7. So when the team is spread across various geographies, in the war rooms, when there is convenient, as per the convenience of the resources, they
mm,
join the war rooms, and it is through video conferencing tools like MS Teams or Zoom or anything.
mm,
So in that war rooms, we try to resolve the issue, real-time issue, what is happening at that particular time. And one thing is regionalizing the responses.
mm,
When you break down one large global team into smaller teams as per the geography, suppose previously in the last project in Dubai, we
mm,
had a team in South Africa, we had a team in Portugal, we had a
mm,
team in Dubai, we had a team, of course, in India.
mm,
So when we regionalize the response, then it becomes very easy. And another thing also, I would like to tell about the routine social interactions.
mm.
So we need to have trust among the different geographies, different remote members, and we need to have regular communication with them. So probably that will make a success for the different regional issues in different researches and different locations.
Got it. And as we can see, sir, you have managed greenfield and large transformation programs. So, do you remember a project that didn't go initially as per plan, but somehow you helped turn it around?
Recently, while migrating a legacy on-premise customer SAP environment to a new cloud-based solution, a
Mm,
weekend cutover with around 12-hour maintenance window, the data
mm,
transfer rate was very slow and tested in a staging environment. So by Sunday night, only 40% of the data was migrated, and
mm,
data integrity checks also showed mismatches. The
mm,
legacy system was already shut down, and
mm,
rolling back was very complex. So in
mm,
the Monday morning when we saw the
mm,
business critical systems would be offline. So that made the complete team very panicked and each other started blaming each other. So I stopped the team from continuing the flawed migration because it was corrupting the data instead of getting migrated. So I ordered the team to switch on an emergency only, read only access to the old system.
mm,
And we partially brought back the online and providing users with 80% functionality while we worked with the migration. We discovered that a throttling policy on network firewall was not configured properly. So
mm,
I rescoped the project to a phased migration. Instead of doing it in the weekends and haphazardly doing it, we rescoped the plan, rescoped the project instead of a big bang weekend work. So
mm.
I reallocated the senior engineers to focus on the data validation phase, while junior staff monitored the data transformation. So regular communication with the stakeholders also helped managing expectation during the outage. So it was complete a teamwork, and we did not adhere to the as well as the timeline, the budget. So we became flexible, and that was the real reason getting it success.
Yes. Must be very, must be a great learning experience, sir, because
Yes, yeah, very
I
much.
think, sir, you have been deeply involved in SAP and large enterprise transformation. So, could you, kind of share an example where stakeholder alignment was the biggest challenge rather than solution itself?
Yeah, because while in the stakeholders meetings, during an incident, different departments and people from different teams, they have
Mm,
different expectations. For
mm,
example, engineering or technical teams has different expectation. Business
mm,
sales teams, they have different expectation. Legal team has different expectation. Even in the communication, they have different expectation.
mm,
Somebody may not able to understand what we are telling because their language is different.
mm,
So in such incidences, what we need to do, we need to see if
mm,
the information what we are providing is overloaded or underloaded. And when we gather the information from various departments and various teams, there will be conflicting informations also, because
mm,
one department or one team will not know what is the real flaw, and he will blame it to somebody else. And
mm,
particularly such type of issues happen when the team is very large and stakeholders are also very large. To
mm,
overcome this, we need to have a predefined communication plan. And
mm.
if it is a large project, then probably we should have and we should appoint a dedicated communication lead and map
Yes.
the stakeholders' power as well as their interest. We need to prepare a RACI matrix where we need to define the different responsibilities and accountabilities of different people in different departments.
Got it. And then, sir, talking about driving innovation, AI, and automation initiatives, from your experience, if you could tell our audience a little bit about a real use case where automation or AI delivered measurable impact and not just excitement.
True. That happens many of the times in my different projects. One example is we implemented a AI powered automation to handle
Yes.
the document processing and to test the outcomes of the processing. Like we did the comparison of the different documents. We mapped the documents of the source as well as the target.
Mm,
So different RPA tools we had used, and some of the testing tools also used to do that. That really helped in reducing the manual effort, and it increased the accuracy and cost saving also.
and also, so, coming from delivery background, like, you have also done a lot of pre-sales and won multiple RFPs. Could you share a story, sir, where the deal was won because of how the solution was positioned rather than pricing?
Yeah, recent project was a very big project. It involved a lot of technologies, lot of departments, lot of domains. So while we prepared the solution for that, we involved the people and solution architect from various departments. So we shifted from the product to the partner. Instead
Mm,
of saying that we sell the product to the client, we
mm,
tried to make a partnership with the client, and
mm,
we addressed the pain points of the client very directly, and
mm.
we did some proactive communications and agility in the solution. We gave some different differentiators, different skills, different innovations, and that really worked out.
Got it. And sir, you have been a delivery leader, for such a long time. And we usually see that, the biggest problem that is there is the client expectation. They are some many a times very unrealistic. So how do you handle situations like this where the client expectation seems to be very unrealistic?
Yeah, everybody wants. If I would have been a client, I would have also done that. I would
Mm,
have given less money and expect a lot. So that expectations can be met with proactive communications, regular communications with the client. What we are doing, what we can deliver in the short term basis, what we can deliver in the long term basis. We
mm,
should show some empathy to the client. Different data driven solutions can be provided to the client, and we
mm,
should actively listen to the client and understand their underlying goals. Upfront, we should set some clear boundaries
mm,
with the detailed context and database explanations,
mm,
and give and search for different alternatives, realistic alternatives. And we should be very transparent while doing the reporting and communications. Probably that work out with the unrealistic expectation from the client. Client should understand really what are the limitations, what are advantages, what are the benefits he is getting, and
mm.
what are the limitations he is going to get. So if we give the regular communication to the client, So it is a mutual and collaborative approach with the client. So they can understand.
Got it. And said, working at leadership level, also involves identifying talent, creating a pipeline of talent, grooming them into leaders. So, what is your mantra for that? Like, how do you identify talent? How do you groom them?
So while working in a team, should observe the behavior and over the output, what output they give, and also what the behavior they are providing, showing, and see that if they are really proactive, the resource is really proactive,
Mm,
and we should access the influence of that particular resource with other team members, not the authority of that person with other team members, the
mm,
influence of the resource with other team members, and how that person is adaptive, how flexible he is, and to know that also we can utilize the 360-degree feedback
yeah.
uh, while doing the appraisals and all that.
Mm,
So we to know that how the resource will be valuable,
mm,
we need to give him some stretch assignments
mm,
and provide a individual development plan after discussing with that particular research. Provide
mm,
mentorship and sponsorship if required. We can give some budgets for the for that type of investments. We
yeah.
delegate the authority, and inside the team we should foster the learning culture rather than throwing something to the team. We should completely convey a message that you should learn the new things, adapt to the new environment.
Mm,
So probably that way we can identify the leaders and grow them into the new leaders, better leadership quality they can.
right. And you are known as a Kaizen and innovation champion, sir. So, can you share a small improvement initiative that delivered large results?
Yeah. So in one of the project, particularly in CGI,
Mm,
we had a requirement for. I mean, it was a superannuation project where we have some inputs to the application to the system, and
mm,
it provides a PDF report in terms of the PDF, which
mm,
need to be circulated to the different subscribers of that particular superannuation. So to there are various PDF files, around thousands types of PDF files,
mm,
and he entered into that project, into that work in the middle. So I had seen that it is very lot of manual efforts are going through that
mm,
to test the original data with the PDF uh, output. So
mm,
the comparison between the two, mapping of the data between the input as well as the output PDF, it is
mm,
very lot of efforts are being spent.
mm,
So in that they had a automation suite in RoboPrimer. So
mm,
I told them to implement a PDF comparison inside the RoboPrimer itself. So that
yeah.
tool doesn't support any PDF comparison itself, but
Mm,
we did some coding to do that, and finally we got success, and we got the golden award from CII for that particular type of.
got it. And once you are at a leadership role, it kind of comes with pressures and kind of trade-offs. Do you remember any moment? Must be a lot of moments where you had to make a tough decision that affected your team personally.
Yeah, in one of the company, I was inducted as a QA head, quality assurance head. So they had a lot of expectations from me.
Mm,
And when I joined immediately, they told me how you can optimize the cost as well as resources in the testing team. So what I tried to do my best in that. And in that process, there are a lot of reshuffling, lot of reassigning roles and performance management,
mm,
resource allocation, pivoting strategy, budget
mm,
cost, budget cuts, and there are a lot of layoffs also I had to do. That was really painful, and that decision was tough, and I became very emotional while doing that.
mm,
But that is
mm,
part of the work in IT.
mm.
So it is a culture in IT corporates. We cannot come out of it. It is required.
So over these last 20 years, do you think for you the definition of successful delivery has changed and how it has
Yeah,
changed?
yeah. There are a lot of changes in the delivery process methodologies. Initially, it was waterfall, that came agile. Now it is agile also has been into different types of agile methodology.
Mm,
So, in a broad way, I can tell that delivering a requested product or software
mm,
with a timeline and budget, that
mm,
concept is over. It is
mm,
not only the time or within the budget. Rather
mm,
than we should ensure the delivery. actually solves the problem or not,
mm,
creates value for the client or not, and
mm,
achieve intended business benefits, and
mm.
really it gives the user impact, regardless of whether the final product matches the initial plan or we need to change the plan. As it is very common in the agile methodologies to change the initial plan. So from fixed plan to adaptable agility, and from
mm.
independent action to a collective impact. Probably that is the solution what we are till now achieving in IT, different methodologies in IT.
Got it. And when, sir, all these young professionals approach you for guidance, what is that real story? And you have to be honest here. What is that real story from your own journey? Do you usually share with them?
Yeah, a lot of young talents are coming, and probably they are better than us because their learning curve is very sharp
Mm,
and they are also hardworking. So, but one thing I would be happy to tell to the new people, to the young people who are coming into IT,
mm,
that we need to have a technology adaptation mindset. Old technology may not work. We have to live with the new technology, update ourselves with the new technologies. We should
mm,
think logically and probably flexibility for the change. That
mm.
change can be in terms of the technology, can be in terms of the environment, change in the terms of the client behavior. So that change is always there in IT industry.
Got it. And now the last one, sir, is that if you could go back to your first major, leadership role, what mistake would you warn your younger self based on real experience?
So in CMC, when I was there in CMC, CMC was a government company, public sector, government of India enterprise.
Yeah.
In that, we tried to implement a truck dispatch system like what we have today
Mm,
in GPS-based applications and all. So
mm,
at that time, GPS was not there. So we implemented one solution called TDS. Where
mm,
inside the coal mines, the dumpers and the trucks movement can be monitored in the control room.
mm,
To that implementation, lot of hindrances and protests from the different dumper operators happened. They are very much resistive because they are very corrupt, and they
mm,
do the trip calculation of their
mm,
truck
mm,
very badly. I mean, they did not adhere to the rules and
mm,
gave the fake information to the higher ups and earning money.
mm,
So that really hampered them, and they started revolutionizing the people in that company, and even our life was in danger during that period when we were implementing.
mm,
So we should be very steady in our approach and firm in our approach, and we need to communicate the client properly about such type of incidences because it is a cultural difference, and at that time people were not that much educated, and they were very much resistive to get a change. So it was not a mistake. I reported to the higher ups in
mm,
Calcutta regarding that, and I also started blaming others. But my higher ups, they told me to just get calm down and take care of your own staff. And finally, we became so we need to be a little bit very polite while in our approach to
mm,
the different types of clients, different types of users, because
mm,
everybody has a different type of mindset. Everybody has a different type of behavior, and it
mm,
varies across the geography, not only in India. We need to
mm.
handle the lot of clients across the geography. So we need to be a little bit cautious as well as empathetic, and we should show the emotional intelligence while dealing with such type of people.
Now I've got another question, sir, is that when you are not working, what are you doing? Like what are your favorite hobbies like?
I read the newspaper, news channels. I see the news channels, and I learn the new technologies in
Mm,
Udemy and Tutorial Point and all that, and keep
mm,
upgrading myself. And it's a hobby to get new knowledge. That knowledge can be anything. Probably I am more fascinated towards the economics, so I keep track
mm.
of what is happening economical across the world. What is happening in US? What is happening in Ukraine and Russia? So that is my hobby too.
Thank you so much, Devdatta, for joining us on this podcast. Extremely grateful that you shared your insights, sir, and we look forward to having another insightful session with you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Rishikesh, for giving me opportunity for this. I feel privileged. Thanks a lot.